Hello. The reason for me not being there is my foot pedal wasn't working to turn... Whoa. Was there no music? Was the music not working? Oh, did the music run out? Did the music run out? Let me know if the music... Hello, everyone. Okay, let me put the rule books away. Alright, music was there at the start but ended. Okay, fine. There we go. The music was working, was there at the start but ended. I will put the music on a loop. That should make more sense. Honestly, I should just change the countdown timer because 5 minutes is anyways way too long. As far as the chair stream, my foot pedal decided not to work today, so I need to go ahead and restart a few things and then get it going. Either way, I'll do that later, but that's why there was an empty chair stream for a second. Hello everyone, how are all of you doing today? It's been a good day for me. It's been a good day. I've gotten 2 videos filmed. I've been reading rules for another video I'll be filming today. I should shortly hopefully be getting to, if I'm lucky, I'll be a 5 video a day, which I need to because I need to get ahead of things. I track a lot of stuff. I'm falling behind. It's all good. It's all good. But anyways, let's go through some things. We got live chat over here. Hello. Let's go. Hi, Poppy. Nope, not Poppy. Wait, how did I turn this? My live chat just disappeared. Where's my chat? Where's my chat? I might need to close this and open it back up because I X'd out on the chat and then it was gone. So let's go back here. Let's go to view channel and let's go to live. Okay, there we go. Live chat's back. First question, did the printer arrive? Yes, not only did it arrive, I anticipated the fact that I'd get questions about the printer, and so I brought down like 2 things that I've been working on. Small, stupid stuff. So let's go into the printer. Let's dive into the printer because why not? You didn't get the music delivery this week. No, Stephanie, I did not. So, diving into the printer. Printer arrived yesterday. It took around... I'll be doing a full video on the printer at some point, but I first want to print about a bajillion different things with it first. Anything from toys to inserts to... Toys and inserts. Is there a third category of things? Toys and inserts, I think, is the main category. But anyways, it arrived yesterday. It took around 30 to 40 minutes to get set up from, opening the box to where everything needed to go, which is not bad, honestly. And then from there, just started printing right away. The first thing I printed was stupid and a waste of time. I didn't realize what it was. I printed something from the default preloaded menu just to try it, and while it wasn't bad, it was an hour and a half of nothing that I cared about. That's the main issue with these printers. They are slow. If you ever start selling stuff or get too involved, you probably want multiple printers. I don't anticipate getting multiple printers yet. We'll see how that goes. But then since then, my chat went off. Since then, I basically, the first thing I did after the first stupid thing I did, is I went to the various sites and had my kids pick out various stuff that they want to print, so they can all pick their little toys. This is something Yoda picked out, and that way I can start this off by hopefully having, I don't know, 4 or 5 different things for them before I start printing any inserts or whatnot. I say before, but right now as we speak, it's currently printing the first insert that I'm working on. Starting small, I'm doing an insert for Things and Rings, which Successful shared the file for me Successful shared the file with me a few weeks ago when I was still trying to make things work on my old printer. So overall, very happy with the printer so far. I printed this little thingy, little articulated dragon. I have bigger ones coming today, but again, I'm starting with small stuff just to get things out of the way. So if you do have a print issue, which I have always had print issues on my old printer, I've had no print issues on this printer, mostly no, we'll give some qualifications. But I want to start small with everything before getting too... I don't want to be doing an 8-hour print that has issues. Let me start with all these 2-hour prints, see what happens as far as how well they hold up. And then from there, let me just turn this audio off. Nope, audio down to 0, hit play. Perfect. Anyways, I want to get to the small stuff first, get all those things out of the way, and then start the bigger things. Like I do plan on doing a primal insert, again another insert that Successful shared with me, and getting that done. I'm learning a lot about multicolor prints and multicolor wastage as well, because multicolor wastage is huge. This little thing over here, the fact that I want these eyes to come pre-printed gray as opposed to painting them myself after, means you have multiple little plastic poops every time it switches color, because think about it this way, if it's printing in a small layer, every time it prints a small bit of gray, it has to go change. For each layer, it has to go change the color. So it's changing the color, I don't know, 20 times for those 2 little eyes, which means a lot of little wastage every time you do a color change. Past that, I brought one other toy down here, just because, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up with these. So even though these cost like $1 in the store, I decided to go print it. These are fun. You have to pay attention, because I'm not going to be getting it again. I'm just going to be doing it, and then it's gone. There, just want to make sure I didn't lose it later. Anyways, that's these little things. So you can print any kind of little toy. That's just so my kids can have these little fun little toys. And let's go ahead and take a little chat. Successful. Chair stream. Ruined. Hi, Alex. Music was there at first, but ended. The music was working. Music stopped for midway through countdown for 2 minutes. I did for most of it. You didn't get the music delivery this week. I did not get the music delivery this week, unfortunately. I ordered it last week, but they said that, unfortunately, it is a little delayed, which is unfortunate, but realistically expected. Let me go ahead and pull this up over here, because I lost it. Where was this? Okay, let's go through some questions. Some questions. Music stopped midway through countdown. That makes sense. For 2 minutes, I did for most. Afternoon. Have you played again? Okay, Dunny, have you played Pagan Fate of Roanoke? If so, what did you think? I think Pagan Fate of Roanoke is an excellent game. It's not one that I kept, but the reason for that is because it's a kind of game that I think you kind of need to play multiple times to get a good feel for it, and I found that every time I played it with somebody new, I would win, and it was getting... I like the game a lot. I enjoy playing it. I will always have to play it with somebody who knows the game. It's not one that I found was great for getting people off the ground right away. I think it's a game that rewards consistent play with consistent players, but I do think it's a very, very good game. I'm a big fan of it. Didn't stick around for reasons more related to just I was the one who was playing it the most and kept teaching new people and then kept stomping them because I knew it the most. I don't think I've ever lost that game. I don't think I've ever lost that game. Yanuel, are you going to do a review on Andromeda's Edge? No, I don't currently have a plan to at the moment. Andromeda's Edge is the one that I covered during the prototype phase. I enjoy it. I do not love it. It's also based on Dwellings of Eldervale, which is another game that is very well received and very well loved. For me, I enjoy Andromeda's Edge, but did not love it. Enjoyed both of them. I enjoyed Dwellings of Eldervale and did not love it. I enjoy Andromeda's Edge more, but still did not love it. Vandalis, no, wait, next one. Successful. Are you going to preview Beyond the Horizon at some point? Did you enjoy Beyond the Sun? Oh, is Beyond the Horizon the spiritual successor to Beyond the Sun? I didn't realize that. I saw you talking about it. I didn't realize what it was. I do very much enjoy Beyond the Sun, although I think the game looks terrible, but I do enjoy the actual gameplay. For Beyond the Horizon, the only thing I know about it is you've been posting about it in our Discord. Vindolis, do you have the AMS? If the AMS is the 4-color combo loader, yes, I have the AMS. Ryan, Alex, what was the decision based around getting rid of Hellas instead of Ragnarok? Ooh, Ryan, good question. That's a hard one. It's a very hard one. So if you followed me enough in enough videos, the basic thing I've said about those two games is that I enjoy Lords of Ragnarok more than Lords of Hellas, but Lords of Ragnarok starts making it Lords of Ragnarok feels more adjacent to a game like Blood Rage or Kemet, versus Lords of Hellas did feel more distinctly different. So I liked one more than the other, but one felt more unique. As far as push comes to shove, why I got rid of Lords of Hellas, maybe gut check, gut feel. I don't have a good answer. I remember liking Lords of Ragnarok more, and so I got rid of Lords of Hellas. That was the main reason. At the end of the day, honestly, there's a chance both of them go away. Realistically speaking, I play so much less area control than I used to, and I love the genre, but the games in them aren't getting played. And my top 5, top 6 aren't getting played, and Lords of Ragnarok and Lords of Hellas are outside of those top 4, top 5, top 6. Well, let me think, what are my top 6? If I had to think of my best area control games, off the cuff, without committing to anything, in no particular order, my best ones are going to be Blood Rage, Inish, Cyclades, Kemet, DEI, Rurik. Blood Rage, Inish, Cyclades, Kemet, DEI, Rurik. That's already 6. I still have Ankh, but partially because my kid wants it, and Ankh also plays in a short enough time frame that's almost a different category. Lords of Ragnarok might be 7. It might be number 7. I have to think if I'm missing anything else. But those top 6 I just mentioned, those are my top area control games. Successful! Member for 19 months. Thank you so much, Successful. You are a real prince. Also, thanks for taking my calls last night while I had some questions about the 3D printer. Okay. Stacy, hello friends. Hello Stacy, how are you? Duke John, evening Alex. Did Midiphius contact you about their Mass Effect board game? From what I've seen so far, it looks sadly lackluster. I have the Mass Effect board game. It's on my list of many things I'm trying to get done right now. It's too long of a list. I am getting things done every day. That's the good news. But the list is so long, it's a little depressing. Not depressing is the wrong word. Overwhelming, intimidating. But yes, I have the Mass Effect board game. I would love to play it as soon as I can. I don't know when that will happen. Sooner is better than later, but we'll see what happens. Hi Stacy, me Successful, such a great sharer, Successful Geek. Oh yeah, I need to send you the poop spout I use for the PONS. That would be great, because right now, where the printer is, it's against a wall that I managed to wedge a little cardboard box that I had there, and it's just collecting little poops. But a poop spout would be great. Thank you. Dwarf Furious, I'm sick from PAX. I brought board games at PAX. PAX West? Are you talking about PAX West? You went to PAX West? Richard. Sweet, I'm only 4 minutes late. Welcome aboard, Richard. Good to see you. Board Game Buzz. Hello, Alex. Glad to see we had similar thoughts with the Apiary expansion. Also super stoked to party at Level Up next year. I'm looking forward to Level Up. I'm glad you're coming. Are you going anywhere else? Are you going to PAX Unplugged, any of those things? But as far as Apiary, I'll have to watch your video. Yeah, Apiary, I like the Apiary expansion. It's straight and to the point. It does the job. Nidamir, hello, Brian, Carly. Ooh, what was your thoughts on stamp swap? What did you think about stamp swap? I'm curious about that. Stamp swap in general, we've been talking about it in our Discord. In general, it seems to be. I think Dice Tower gave it a. Dice Tower did a 7.5, a 6.5, and a 6. Was that the rating? Something like that. It was something along those lines. Tom actually liked it the most, and he's usually a little bit more grumpy about games. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Board Game Brian, no, Board Game Buzz. Hello, Brian. Goodberg Hodgson. See, this is why I never be able to get a 3D printer. My house will be filled with knickknacks. Yes, yes. So here's the thing. I have 4 kids. Printing knickknacks every single week is so much fun. And the biggest thing is they can pick, like my kids are agonizing over what to pick. And I'm like, hey, this isn't like when we go to the store when you have to pick one. What you do is you just literally pick anything you want. It goes into a little shared folder, a little saved folder. They each have their own little folder on my app for the printer, whatever it is. And then they just get to print things as they want. Like, it won't be everything all the time. You might be limited to 1 or 2 new knickknacks a week just because of printing time. But hey, if I can bring joy to my little kiddos by just printing little articulated dragons and whatever it is they want, why wouldn't I do so? It is a fairly cheap price compared to anything else. ACS, how do you handle certain games that require writing on Shabbos? So Solomon message retracted. I'm always curious about those. ACS, how do you handle certain games that require writing on Shabbos? I usually don't play those games. If a game requires writing on Shabbos, okay, so it depends on kind of writing. If you're talking about a roll and write, I mean, there's not a lot you can really do about it. Like, what's a game that you, for context by the way, for those watching, on Shabbat, Orthodox Jews cannot write or use electricity or all those things. But ACS, I'm curious okay, here's the problem with the question. Most games that require writing on Shabbos, you just won't be able to play on Shabbos. If you're talking about something like keeping score, you can use a book if you want. There's many ways around it. So I'm not sure what's the mid-range category you're trying to think through. Successful Geek, which is better? Getting expansions for Dune Imperium or picking up Dune Imperium Uprising? Well, I think Dune Imperium Rise of Ix made Dune Imperium so much better. I haven't played Uprising, so I can't talk about that. And only Rise of Ix. I didn't think the other expansions were essential. Undutiful Carrot. Should I back Ra if I already own Nidavellir? I mainly play at 2 with my girlfriend. I don't know the similarity between Ra and Nidavellir. They both have a semi-auction mechanic, I guess, but like, I think Ra is much better than Nidavellir, and I think Nidavellir is pretty good. Unemployed Lawyer. I've been here the whole time, I swear. Well, I'm glad you've been here the whole time, George. Clark, when you moved, did you and your entire family move with you? Just curious if you and your wife are still together. Haven't seen her on the channel for a long time. We'll move on. Unemployed Lawyer, Alex. Hey, Alex, what's up, party people? Board Game Buzz, Unemployed Lawyer. Unemployed Lawyer, sup, Carly. George, Successful Geek, now I can relax. Adam, now you're the real mod. My computer's about to die. Whose computer's about to die, George? Pascal, I'm always amazed by how fast you talk in your videos. Is it a talent you were born with, or is it something you learned in previous jobs? I think it's, talent is a relative term. I think it's just something that I just, in general, just talk fast. I usually try to slow it down if I can, but honestly, I've said this before, I usually focus more on trying to enunciate over trying to talk slower. Because I can sometimes blur my words if I'm going too fast. Pariah, hello, everyone. Seems I'm getting sick after all my travels. Time for NyQuil and rest. Enjoy. When do you come back, Pariah? When did you get back? And you're traveling again soon, aren't you? Unemployed Lawyer, hello, Ryan. Board Game Buzz. Blood Rage is GOAT. Blood Rage is amazing, Carly, but which other games from those 6 have you played, if any? Unemployed Lawyer, feel better, dude. Brian, I'm waiting for Alex to say he's getting rid of Blood Rage because it doesn't get played. Methinks he needs new friends. Blood Rage does get played. So from the 6 I just mentioned, I mentioned Rurik, Blood Rage, DEI, Kemet, Cyclades, and Inish, right? Blood Rage has been played in the past year. Cyclades has been played... Wait, Kemet's been played in the past year. DEI has been played in the past year. Rurik has not been played in the past year, but when I do play it, it's amazing. Cyclades has been played in the past year. And what's the last one? DEI? Is that the last one? So I think everything except for Rurik has been played in the past year from those 6. But they just get played less often than they used to. There was a point where we were playing Blood Rage on a monthly basis. Solomon, hey Alex, questions of Primal. How unique does each character feel? In something like Marvel Champions, I feel like the aspects make some hero decks feel same. Is there something similar in Primal? So my original review of Primal did say that I think the characters do play a little more similarly than I would like. And they do feel different. There are differences to the characters, but like the example would be the bow person. I don't feel the bow person inherently feels like a bow person. You could have just as easily said that the bow person was like dual swords, because the bow person does have a feeling. The way they play it feels a bit more fast-paced. But does it feel like a bow? Not strongly. So they do feel different, but not like necessarily specific to the weapons, and in minor ways. John, any chance in a review of Hellenica Story of Greece? I don't know if I know that. It sounds familiar, but I'm not sure of it offhand. Dwarfirus, I'm West Coast, enjoy PAX. Stacy, Evadel, Alex, I'm starting to think about some things for Level Up graphics merch. We should talk. Happy to talk. I still owe you responses on the last thing you sent over. Duke Johnny, okay, since you mentioned yourself, how do you stay sane with such an overwhelming backlog of games to play and videos to record? Like, I need your wisdom, Alex. I can't help you with there. I literally just filmed, today I filmed a video. It's a member-specific video, so Patreon, Ko-Fi, all of that. But it's a video that literally talks about how yesterday I was having an anxiety, not anxiety. Yesterday I was having a day where I felt completely overwhelmed. I was feeling completely defeated and just... Like, I was debating doing, like, a channel video, but I don't like that kind of thing. I don't like doing a full, like, oh my gosh, woe is me. I don't like doing that on, like, the main channel as much as possible. I barely like doing it on Patreon, but I like sharing a bit more. Patreon and Ko-Fi, but I like sharing a bit more there. But I filmed a video talking about it, but I stay sane only in the sense that if I can convince myself I am making progress on my backlog, whatever that backlog is, then I can stay sane. And there's a few ways I do that. That's the way I stay sane. I use numbers to show that I'm making progress. And if those numbers don't support that, I have to make lifestyle changes. So for example, one thing I do on a regular basis, every single week, I check how many videos are going up that week. So like this week, I'll have 15 videos, boom. And then I have to film 15 videos that week. And I track every week how much progress I'm making or losing on a given basis. And currently, over the past 3.5 months that I've been doing this now, I am up 4 videos. Which is fine as long as I'm up. I'm ahead 4 videos over the past 3.5 months. And that gives me room to, if I get up to 10 videos, then that gives me room to take a vacation, basically, and film a little less that week, or just go on a convention or any of that. And I started doing the same thing recently with games in versus games played, of how quickly new unplayed games are entering versus how quickly they're getting played. Now, these aren't perfect answers. There's still the question of how often are you playing the games you love? Those are different questions. But effectively, yeah, it's kind of just trying to convince myself that I'm ahead on numbers, and if not, making changes. At the end of the day, you have to buy less, or in my case, very often it's saying no to review copies, but just recognize your own boundaries and also whether you're enjoying yourself. For me, I'm definitely enjoying myself, but I have to figure out, I think part of what triggered, and I said this in the member video, but part of what triggered it for me is I just got Stalker All In. And when I got it, I was both excited because I liked the game, but I was also a little defeated. I was like, when am I even going to play this? Like, I have this game that I like that just showed up, and I'm like, I'll unbox it, and then I'll play it when? Like, in the next year? Will I? I don't know, because I have such a backlog of homework that non-homework won't necessarily get done as quickly. And that was a very sad moment of getting a game you love and not even be able to engage with that thing. It was tricky. So, we'll figure it out. But basically, try to have self-control and make sure you're enjoying yourself. So, me, Brian, I think you should visit and play Blood Rage. Absolutely. Brian, if you visit, we'll play Blood Rage. Pedro, hey Alex, are you going to review ARCs? I don't have current plans to get my hands on ARCs. At some point I might play it and review it, but I don't currently have a plan to. Speaking of being overwhelmed, there's so much coverage on ARCs already, and I'm not overly interested in ARCs. I'm not against it, just I'm not overly interested. I don't know. It's interesting. Hype and buzz don't do as much to interest me so much as first impressions. My first impressions of ARCs was, it looks fine, it looks good, it just doesn't look like it's for me. I might play it and think it's the best thing ever. This is not a dig. This is me just recognizing that if I'm not pulled in by a game, I don't need to force myself to get it. Surab me. Duke, false assumptions. Alex is not sane. I agree. Dwarfirius. Wait, nope, I missed the thing. Oh, Applebee's. Hello, Applebee's. Thank you for being a member for 20 months. I appreciate you. I will go deal with your comment. You know, I'll deal with the comment first because that's how this works. Any particular thoughts about Dice Stone announcing that they are large enough now to handle running multiple crowdfunding campaigns at a time? I do have thoughts. So, okay. I'm a cynic, okay? And I'm not saying a single thing that's negative about Dice Stone, but I am a cynic. To me, that kind of felt, the whole video of like, hey, we're large enough to handle multiple crowdfunding campaigns at a time, what that sounded like to me was a polite way of saying, we've previously stuck to one at a time, that's not working because this last campaign is overdue. How do we convince our community that it's not a big deal to have a overdue campaign while having a new one? Which, by the way, for me it isn't. This is why this isn't negative against Dice Stone. But like, it's not a big deal to me to have multiple campaigns at once. Having 7 is a different conversation than having 2. But to me, it really felt like they were worried about the pushback they would get. And so they specifically structured a video that sounds all gung-ho and positive and, you know, we're larger and growing and we're able to handle multiple campaigns at once now, which is really useful because it happens to be we want to run multiple campaigns at once now. It kind of felt like a press announcement to not have negative pushback. Now, again, personally speaking, I don't have a problem with them running multiple campaigns. I didn't need the whole announcement. But maybe some people did. Maybe there's enough people who would be upset that there's a new Dice Throne campaign before the old one was delivering. Maybe. Like, maybe specifically because it's not just a different game, but it's the same game. It's like having Nemesis 4 while Nemesis 3 is still outstanding. Even though it's not exactly the same, it's a little adjacent to that. So that might have been the pushback, I don't know, but like again, Simon's done it with like Zombicide Undead or Alive, while the last Zombicide's only just delivering. Or I think they did it with Marvel Zombies, while Zombicide Undead or Alive was just delivering. So yeah, so I mean, I didn't think it was a big deal, but it seemed like they were worried about it being a big deal. Dwarfears, I got Nidavellir, Quartz, Saboteur, Gnome Hollow, and a couple others. I'm sorry about Quartz. I apologize. Let me know if you enjoy it. I thought Quartz was, and I like Lucky Duck, but like, I was not impressed with Quartz. I thought it was a mass market title from a non-mass market company. But the rest sound good. Okay. Dwarfears and Nidavellir is great. It's successful. Message retracted. I always am curious about those. Unemployed lawyer. Poppy, am I one of your kids? Can I get a Fidget Soul Dragon? Send me a link, George. Send me a link to what you want, and we'll see. Now, keep in mind, as my least favorite child, you do get your toys last after all my kids get theirs, although it depends. If you can send me something with a 2-hour print time, that's very different than something with an 8-hour print time. But right now it's been less than 24 hours since I got the printer, and so currently I'm printing all my fun things first. But absolutely, why in the world not? Janual, is it Janual? The annual? I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I apologize. TMB or Elder Scrolls? That's a complicated answer, but I do think TMB. If you're answering for me, TMB. But they're both very, 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 very good. Phasing player. The biggest board game benefit I've had from 3D printing is printing cubes and other generic bits. Sometimes games just need to do that to help track stuff or mark things. That's useful to know. I have no clue what I'm going to do. Honestly, I'm just going to browse various forums and find stuff. Because right now there's toys and inserts and then peripheral stuff that I will just get. Successful. I see and acknowledge what you did there. Did he literally... Oh, did he... I'm 11 minutes behind. I see what he did now. I see that too. You see, because I'm 11 minutes behind, here's the problem. Because I'm 11 minutes behind on chat, I kind of thought it was just later. I didn't realize he said it at the same time. Good. Well done, Successful. Well done. So I would do that, says Brian. You guys are the best. ACS, so games like Primal or a lot of campaign games have some form of writing. I save my campaign sheet for Primal and only do one round in Shabbos so I don't get any extra material I may have earned. Okay, gotcha. So games that have you tracking campaign stuff in between rounds, it really is case by case. I find some of them have been fairly easy to remember what's going on. So for example, a good example is Zombie Kids. I've played a lot of Zombie Kids with my kids, and technically there are stickers you apply in between rounds. I find it so easy to remember that as long as I just do it right after Shabbos, it's pretty easy. But, it is case by case. If you're having trouble remembering, not the best thing to do. And you could grab bits from other games and put them on there or whatnot. You could use dice and put them onto the spots. Get a bunch of small, tiny dice and put them onto the material spots in Primal. Robbie Sanger, hello everyone. Chandler McGowan, thoughts on Centauri Kickstarter taking this long and it already made a game? Guessing Sphinx expansion screwed everything? I don't know. So I'm in the fortunate position that I always have too many games, and I always have too many games that I haven't played yet even. And so usually when a crowdfunding campaign is overdue, I just don't care and I just move on with my life until the game's not arriving, at which point then I feel like I should have cared more. But I haven't been tracking the Centauri Sphinx. It is interesting that it's taking this long. Duke Johnny, Cyclades, can't wait for the Ultimate Edition. Ultimate Edition is good. I like the art of the original better. Honestly, the same album with Kemet. Kemet, Blood and Sand, and Cyclades, I like the original art better, but the changes are better in both cases. ACS, I'm avoiding getting Gloomhaven because of how heavy the writing and keeping track of things is. I don't know. Again, if you have a few dice for experience and you just use those, like use like a 20-sided die or whatnot for things like that, I think you can track most of the stuff pretty easily, honestly. Pascal, are you going to Essence Spill? Not this year, hopefully next year. Brian T. Alex needs to play more Marvel Champions. I introduced it to everyone at the cabin retreat this weekend, and that's all they wanted to play. I had to buy the remaining content when I got home. I do love Marvel Champions. Good Barry Carlson. We just managed to snag a Primal plus Nightmares expansion. Are the other expansions worth hunting down? Have you heard anything about a new Kickstarter GameFound thing for it? No, they're not doing Kickstarter or GameFound. They are doing a pre-launch page on the website. September 17th is the chance to go ahead and get your hands in it. And it is... What was the word I was going to use? As far as the expansions I don't think are necessary at first. Like, enjoy the game, get expansions if you are like, if you play through the first campaign and you still want more, get expansions. But you don't need to hunt them down right away. So, Brian, how was the cabin retreat? What was the best thing you played? That's a question for Brian. Nathan Baker, Alex Steele, the Bacon and Tinderbox was a hit. Thanks for the recommendations for my son. Tinderblocks? Did I recommend Tinderblocks? What's Tinderblocks? I don't remember that one. But Steal the Bacon I definitely recommended. Tinderblocks. What is Tinderblocks? Have you played Compile Main 1? I had a blast. I have Compile. What's Compile Main 1? I mean, I know Compile. I'm not sure what Compile Main 1 is. Stacy, Hype and Buzz doesn't work for me either. I often get super excited about older games that have been around long enough to get solid reviews and likes. Great question, Apple Knees. Caleb, I backed Raw. Should I get Ron right too? I haven't looked at the campaign yet. I plan on getting it. Stacy. Oh, I caught up all of a sudden. I caught up. I went from like being 11 minutes. Oh, I still have questions to go through, but like I thought being 11 minutes behind there'd be more stuff. Let's see. Nathan, Purple Gaze, no. Stacy, Strap Me. Stacy, I'm trying to move in that direction. We just did a giant purge. The number of Kickstarter games that we way overpaid for that we are going to have a hard time selling hurts my heart. Yeah, there's a reason I went from, and I think it's case by case. And I don't regret Kickstarter as a journey for me. I love Kickstarter, GameFound, etc. Obviously, I love the process of backing games, and I've had a lot of fun backing games. And some of my favorite games are games that I've backed. But I did get to a point where I realized I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the games I want to play. And that just is a hard situation to be in. So, again, when I get a game that arrives and I'm like, when am I going to play this? So I've been trying to just be more conservative. Dunny, what is the game you're looking forward to being released this year? I don't know. I'm never good at those questions because I don't track what's being released this year. I'd have to look at the Essen list. Like, I have a lot of games currently on my shelves that I'm excited to play that I haven't played yet. I don't know if I'm fully tracking what's currently coming up with. Bradley, thank you for going over Mycelia. I decided to purchase it and everyone loves it. I'm glad you like it. Mycelia is fun. Mycelia is a fun game. That's a game, again, like the tricky part is I wish I had time to play all the games I enjoy. I don't. Mycelia is definitely one that I enjoy and definitely one that I don't have time to play as much as I'd like. So at me, Alex ranks his children, George is last. George will always be last on the list of my kids. But the others, I don't mind ranking my kids, but I wouldn't do it in a YouTube video. But I think that for me, my ranking of my kids has changed at multiple points. I believe, like, it's not something I hold in my head, but if at any given point I had to answer what's the ranking of my kids, I would do so. I just know that there's always been a point where one of them has been my favorite at all points. Like, they shift. It depends on the year, the day, the situation, whether one of them just got their tablet taken away or whatever. Dwarfurious, Quartz was cheap and has dwarfs. Yes, but it also is quartz. Successful, once again, mistracking message. Janual, hard J, Janual. So it is Janual. Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. Whenever there's a J, I'm always like, is it Jan or Jan? Like Jan or Jan? I don't always know. Successful Geek, can you do a playthrough video of either Vindication Chronicles or Hamlets and Villages? I can't believe those don't exist. Yeah, I need to play it first. Then I'll do a playthrough video. Brian, so at me, Cabin 2 was great. Best game was Black Rose Wars Rebirth. I lost badly, was able to teach and people liked it. Black Rose Wars is such a good game that I'm never going to play. Like, I have the self-control to get rid of that one because it won't get played as much as I'd like. Borg Collect, I'm late. Hello, Borg. You're welcome. You're still welcome even if late. Robbie Sanger, Alex, have you gotten the standalone Disease box? Are you going to do a review playthrough? I have not gotten the standalone Disease box, which is strange. Meaning, the last time I went and picked up Marvel Zombies or whatever it is, Heroes of Resistance last time, I have not run out and gotten the standalone Deceased. I probably should. I think I've been overwhelmed with just stuff on my plate that I've seen people posting content in, and I'll get it eventually. Jan, is it Ihan or Jan? Could you make your rank of the best historical do's in a map game, city building games, and tile placement games? I mean, not on this video, but I'll try to remember to put that down for top 10 lists. Purple Gazer, it's what? ACS, message retracted. You guys are just having fun with me now, aren't you? Are you guys all messing with me in this message retracted situation? Unemployed lawyer, I have to go. Friends, love you all. You're beautiful human beings. Beings, we're beautiful human beings. As a compensation for me leaving early, here's a Discord link. Purple Gazer, like Smash Up, Mindbug, Radicals, etc. What did I miss? I feel like I missed a comment. Successful. Love you, George. Sydney, message retracted. ACS, have you played Ascension levels in Slay the Spire? Yes, I have. Any follow-up questions? ACS, board game or video game? Oh, both. I've played Essential levels in both the board game and the video game. Alexander Pelanov, what board game are you the best at? Ooh, okay. Well, that's an interesting question. The baseline answer I'll give, is I don't think there's a single game. I don't think there's a single game that I could be the best at that someone who's good at that game wouldn't stomp me in. Meaning, for me, best at just means amongst the people in my circle who play games. I think I would get stomped by anyone who's... If I said I'm good at this game and someone's like, oh, I'm an expert at the game, I believe I would get stomped. First thing off the bat. But as far as what games am I really, really, really good at, Galaxy Trucker is one that I do stomp people at. I am very, very good at Galaxy Trucker, to the point that I mean, not to the point. I'm very good at Galaxy Trucker. I played it way too much on the app, and it's just I had to get rid of the real game, even though I love it, because I stomp everyone at it. That's a general thing. I'd love to play with somebody. I might get stomped if you're really good at Galaxy Trucker, but if you're not, I probably would stomp you. Similarly, a few acres of snow I'm really good at. The caveat there is, unless we're talking the Halifax Hammer, so I'm really good at a few acres of snow. I'm really good at Tigris and Euphrates. I'm really good at, we covered it earlier in this chat, oh my gosh, what is it called again? What's that witch game? What, did I forget already? The witch game, Grim Coven, no, not Grim Coven, no, Pagan Fate of Roanoke. Pagan Fate of Roanoke is another one. So there are a bunch of games that I either very rarely lose or haven't lost in a long time. But again, in all of those cases, I do think that I would get stomped at if somebody who knows the game and is good at the game comes along. Like in my group, I win 7 Wonders, I don't know, 75% of the time in my group. Which, again, I gave games that I win higher than that. But you put me against the 7 Wonders competitive tournament play, and I will die. Sydney, any chance Simon is improving the Dead Keep to address some of your concerns? The pre-order ends soon. I have no idea, Sydney. I actually asked them directly. They said because I asked my contact there, I said, hey, when I do something like this, does it take into account, or is it too corporate for that to be? Like, no pressure, I'm just curious. And they said, like, we look at things and we evaluate things. They gave me, like, a very pressy answer that kind of sounded like it's not my job. That's what it kind of sounded like. It kind of sounded like it's like, and I think that in general you have a harder situation, but like, do I hope they do? Yeah, because the Dead Keep, I think, is a really, really, really good Zombicide adjacent implementation. That the boss fights really need to be better. If they can make the boss fights more like Cthulhu Death May Die, I can see the Dead Keep being one of my favorite games from CMON. If they had the boss fights of Death May Die and the gameplay of Zombicide, I think they could be amazing. As it stands, the boss fights were lacking. The rest of the game was really, really well done, and they get the boss fight, which I just feel I'd rather play the other ones. Successful. I won't get ranked as a kid because I just get disowned. No, you helped me with printer. You just print your own toys. That's the only problem. Board Game Buzz. I can totally rank my kids. Alex, brutal honesty is my favorite part about him. I will. There's things you don't do on the internet because those things last forever. But I'm not opposed. Here's the thing. With anything in life, let's use friends because people find that a slightly less distasteful than kids. With friends, if you have 4 best friends, you could say to me, I can't rank those friends. But you rephrase the question. If one of them was leaving, if one of them was moving away to Alaska, you can see them once every 3 years, which one would you want to move away? Not want to, but if you have to pick one to move away, which one would be the first one to move away? And keep repeating that until you get to your last one. There's always a way to rank things. Sometimes we just don't want to think through things. Because not all things are created equal, but everything can ultimately end in the same point. This is kind of like comparing, like when you're like, I can't rank my kids, the closest equivalent is like, you're like, oh, I can't say, do I like, I don't know, Blood Rage more than Codenames? They're both so different. Sure, but if you can only have one, which one would you keep? And suddenly, that's where it starts to get to that point. I think that while you can't rank it, let's say you're going back to friends, this one I talk to more. This one plays more board games with me. This one shares my, viewpoint of the world. This one challenges me a bit more. This one actually lives closer, so I see them more often. That one, I don't know, they watch the same TV shows. This one likes Marvel, so I can talk about Marvel stuff. That one doesn't. It all can go into a little, bucket of things. At the end of the day, we can rank things that are important to us. We just don't always want to because it makes us a little uncomfortable. ACS, what's the furthest you have gotten Ascension-wise in Slay the Spire? So I don't know if you mean the board game or the video game right now. For the video game, I don't remember. I used to do the Ascension levels more heavily when I first got into Slay the Spire. Nowadays, when I dive in, it's usually like, hey, I haven't played you in 4 months, let me go play a game, and I usually don't bother with Ascension levels as much. Versus the board game. So video game, I don't remember. Board game, I think I've only played the Ascension levels once, but I don't think I started with the first one. I think I jumped to 4 and then just played that. So, and I don't even remember if I won or not, so I can't even tell you if I won. Jason, any teas on the next CMON campaign that wouldn't get you into trouble? No, unfortunately. Anything that I know would get me into trouble. So, they're allowed to play whatever games they want. They're allowed to do things like, ooh, our 50th anniversary is going back to our roots. They can say things like that. I can't because I haven't got the permission. George, boy, I can't decide whether to back Elder Scrolls and buy Primal when the boutique shop... Primal. When the boutique shop opens, Alex, your reviews helped a lot. Doesn't help that you love them both. No, Primal. I love the Elder Scrolls, but Primal, and this is obviously relevant to my taste, not necessarily yours. I love Primal. Elder Scrolls, while I think Elder Scrolls is arguably a more satisfying strategic experience, I also have to mentally prepare to play it, and Primal, I could just play. Janual, do you have any interest in playing Monster Hunter Wilds, the video game? I tried playing Monster Hunter, the big one, Monster Hunter. I don't know, what's the main one? The main one that they have, I tried playing recently, and I was not impressed with, like, I don't know, there was so much stuff that was not just fighting monsters that I couldn't really get into it. I think it might be a great game, but I was like, I just felt overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't need this enough, and I haven't tried Wilds at all. Professor Meg, I'm really good at Can't Stop. Are you, Meg? I feel like we should have a Can't Stop face-off on the channel. Sugimi, what do you think about the announcement of Dice Throne Outcast? I mean, it's more Dice Throne. Dice Throne is complicated for me because I like Dice Throne, but you don't need more Dice Throne. Dice Throne is just like a bunch of characters that aren't ever different enough to really need them all. They all ultimately come out to the same thing. Try to roll a bunch of poker hands, do it well. There's small variances there, but it's not like when I play a different character in many games, I feel like it actually matters. And Dice Throne is like put it this way, if you said there's more Marvel United, like here's a 4-hero pack for Marvel United, I'd be like, I mean, I'll get it. I will get it, but like most of the heroes aren't interesting enough. The bosses are more interesting, and the gameplay variants are more interesting. The heroes are just variations of the symbols. And then again, they're getting better at that, but it's still not that exciting. Same thing with Dice Throne. I can't be too excited by Dice Throne's characters just for the sake of the characters. But I mean, if you Marvel Dice Throne, I'm like Marvel missions, whatever, Dice Throne missions, whatever it is, I'm all for that. Board Game Buzz, Jason T. Any teas will get him in trouble. You're right, Carly. Board Game Buzz, Meg's on board. So at me, Meg, that's because you are a witch with dice, that's true. Successful Geek, hello Meg. Smooth Rivera, hi Alex, hope you're settling well into the new house. Now that your kiddos are getting older, have you played any campaign games with them, or are they still too young, not interested? They are interested, but they don't make time for them. It's actually funny you asked that, because just yesterday, I was looking at my shelf, because I need to purge more games, always. I always need to purge more games. But Adventure Tactics, which was a game I said I was getting rid of a long time ago, and then I didn't, because Ricky said, no, I want to keep playing it. That was like over a year ago. She hasn't played it a single time with me. Then I said I'm getting rid of it because she wasn't playing it. And then Meg's like, no, I want to play it. That was probably like 4 or 5 months ago. Haven't played a single game. So like there's games you want to play, and then there's the time you have. And unlike my Steam video game library, where they can all slowly accumulate and it doesn't really matter because they're all there, I can't sell or trade them anyway, and they take up 0 space, the board games are all constantly reminding you. Like, sometimes I go through my Steam library and I feel shame over the games I've bought. But I don't look at my Steam library that often, so it doesn't matter as much. Board games, they're taking up space, and you can sell them, so it's a different conversation. But my campaign games with my kids, they don't generally play unless they're very short or accessible. Like right now, I'm in the middle of going through My Little Alchemist, or whatever it is, or Little Alchemist, or whatever it's called, with Ricky. And that's a sequence of linked games. And I'll finish that because it's like 8 or 9 games, something like that. It's nothing crazy. Versus some games are just, my kids don't have the... It's not, honestly, it's not that they're adults. It's, you can like a game, and then you can ask to play that game again. And those are different things. Q, when are you planning Terraforming Mars with the new content? I've played Terraforming Mars with some of the new content already. I'm not sure what you're asking for exactly. If you're asking for the Atama content, I haven't done the Atama. I do want to. Jason, thanks, Carly. John, is there a chance for a review of Pillars of Hercules or Principles? Both of these are, I mean, so Brett Wilder, I played Brett Wilder when I was in a prototype phase, and I did not love the game. But part of it was the rules were also pretty terrible. So that started me off on a bad foot, and then the gameplay wasn't compelling enough for me. But Pillars of Hercules, haven't played. Both of them I'm open to reviewing, but haven't really, no plans to currently. Board Collect, Codenames, obviously. I would pick Codenames over Blood Rage, absolutely. Because, and it's hard. It is hard to choose that, but Codenames, although, just to be clear, this is where it gets complicated. So, and this undermines everything I said already. If you're choosing which game to get rid of, it's more complicated in a vacuum or not. That's where it gets more complicated. So, if I could only have one game, would I keep Codenames or Blood Rage? I think... Okay, I take back everything I said. It's still eligible. You just have to redefine your terms. There is a difference between having a single game versus what you like more. I think I would keep Codenames over Blood Rage for a variety of reasons. But do I like Codenames more than Blood Rage is more complicated. The concepts are still relevant, but that is... And like it's more complicated for a few reasons. First of all, more people will play Codenames with me. Codenames handles a variety of player counts better. Codenames is easier to table. But Blood Rage is arguably a better experience when I'm playing it, but Codenames would get played more. So maybe Codenames should be higher in my top 100. Maybe it should be. I mean, I'm not actually sure, by the way. Codenames may already be higher than Blood Rage in my top 100. I wouldn't be surprised. Successful Geek. Alex likes to be challenged more. I don't fully understand what that's from. Not sure what that's from. Herpel Pays Gare. Compile main one is a low complexity, high depth, fast tactical card game. That's just a blast of my friends playing this. Maybe have a look later. Like your channel. Thank you. So I know Compile, which just came out. I don't know if Compile main one is different, but I'll take a look and find out. Bendolis. Age changes the ranking of kids a lot, and recent events have a big impact as well. 100%. Sidney Johnson, sorry I was late to the chat. What 3D printer band model did you acquire? I got a Bamboo, I want to say PS1 if I'm not mistaken, with the combo thing. I will be doing multiple videos on the channel around some of the stuff from the review of the printer, which again, it's been in my house for less than 24... The printer's been in my house for less than 24 hours, and I have done more 3D printing with this printer than I did with 3 years of having the Ender. Now, granted, 3 years is an unnecessary extra. Realistically, what I mean is I had the Ender for a month and just kept on trying to make things work and had such a huge problem with it. And I printed a few trinkets here and there and parts of insert, but I never really got anywhere with it. And then when I tried to dive back into it, I still had problems with it. So practically speaking, yeah, the 3 years is basically the beginning and the end. The middle is just the extra 2 years where I gave up on 3D printing while having a 3D printer. This, on the other hand, is amazing and I love it and it's great. Not this, the printer. What is the timeline with Essen videos? I'm not sure I understand what that means. Do you mean like when are there more Essen videos? I don't know offhand. I'll put up like one every 2 weeks probably until Essen. So maybe, I guess that's pretty soon, isn't it? Essen's pretty soon. I'll do probably another 2 or so. Board Collect. A wild meg appears. Yes, indeed. Sydney. Message retracted. At this point, I don't know if you guys are messing with me for fun. Professor Meg, I want to play Adventure Tactics. You see? Nick, did you ever homebrew a game for your kids? If so, did you ever change a game to a specific subject learning game, e.g. codenames with only biology words? No, I haven't done that. I have adjusted rules for games with my kids, and if you ask me which ones, I don't remember offhand, but I've definitely adjusted rules many times. But I don't think I've ever done subject stuff. That's an interesting idea. So at me, Meg, you should stream with Alex on Tuesday nights. I miss Camp Chaos streams badly. I can't. I want to do the Tuesday night streams again, although I don't know if Tuesday night makes sense. But I need to get ahead. I need to stop falling so far behind. I don't know. Maybe. Nick. Nope. ACS, will you get a review copy of Everdell Duo? Not sure, but if I don't get a review copy, I will back it. That's a game that I want either way. Professor Meg, I'd love to do Tuesday nights again. Go on board. Hello, Alex. Hello, go on board. Congratulations on, what are you up to now? 2.5, 3 million, up to 3? I don't know what you're up to, but this is a Cyberpunk 2077. But congratulations on the campaign. Sydney Johnson. Okay, great choice to the PS1 combis considering the X1 Carbon with AMS. Yeah, so also, I don't know if I covered this last week, but they sent me the printer to review. After the first stream, I reached out to them, and then they sent me, I reached out to them and say, hey, I can review the printer on the channel. I make no promises, but my experience with 3D printing until now has been difficult, and I've heard this one is a good printer. And they sent me the full printer to review. So that's one they picked for me, effectively. Successful. Professor Meg, my wife just got the big box in an exchange. We're excited to start playing through all of it. Oh, with Adventure Tactics. Yeah, the big box is insane. Board Collect. I got a Bamboo A1 to make a good product. I mean, yeah, again, because I've been printing a ton of stuff, and I'm waiting for my current insert. I have an insert right now in the printer cooking at the moment. Successful Geek for Adventure Tactics, that is. Brian T. Alex, Cyberpunk 2077 funding seems to be on fire. Do you think it might be the highest funded board game this year? Brian, that is complicated. First of all, this year. Okay, so let's break down a few things. Number one, they had 60,000 people following the campaign. Arguably, the follower to backer ratio is actually not as good as potentially, but that's meaning some games I would expect you almost to do better if it had 60,000 followers, but I will say that because it has an app and real time and that has people on the fence, I'm actually very happy with where the funding is. I do a lot of the GameFound estimates internally, and that was one. Usually I'm pretty sure about where something will be. That was one where internally I'm not going to say what numbers I'd given it, but I had given it a low number that I was like, this is my conservative estimate, and hopefully it'll be much higher. And it's definitely going to be much higher than my conservative estimate, but I'm happy. I'm happy it is. It's good. As far as most funded this year. So the tabletop, so this is what, I hate that we have tabletop and board games are a separate category. I wish they were the same category. Sorry, other way around. I wish they were separate categories. But in the tabletop industry, the highest funded tabletop is going to be the Brandon Sanderson RPG. That took over. It is now the highest funded tabletop crowdfunding campaign of all time. It's not the highest funded board game, it's the highest funded tabletop crowdfunding campaign of all time. In the board game category, I mean, Cyberpunk might finish in the 6 to 8 million range. A lot of it depends on where the all-in is, what the all-in is like as well, and how that goes. So I could see it going over 8 million. I'd be a little surprised. So is it the most funded game this year? Probably. I'd have to think that we obviously have DC United at 4.4 or whatever it ended up exactly. I think it's just shy of 4.5. There's going to be the Awakened Realms Lands of Evershade. That's going to be a big contender. So that might be the one that does better. I think it probably is between this and Lands of Evershade for the most funded board game, not tabletop game. Okay. Board Collect. Nick, I have kids that game with me, and I can't believe I never thought to adjust rules for them that way. Coding is lonely bios. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I like the idea. Jan, is there a chance for a review of Election Game Campaign Trail in 1960 making the president? Campaign Trail, is that the small, like, well, small is relative. Is that the blue and red box, like 2008 or whatever it is? I don't know if I remember Campaign Trail well, but I don't think I ever played the game I'm thinking of. I don't know the game you're thinking of, but 1960 I have played. No chance of a review because I don't have a copy right now, and I have to play it again because it's been a long time. I enjoyed 1960. To me, 1960 was easier to table than Twilight Struggle, both based on the same core system, but Watergate is even easier to table than that. I'd always play Watergate over either of those. Sydney, check out the insert by Mike's Primital for Primal. That might be the one Successful has shared with me because I plan on printing that insert at some point. I'm doing, my goal with the printer is, because the printer is so new to me, I want to try a bunch of small things first and get all the small things, and then, like, you know, maybe I'll have, like, prep for, like, overnight prints or things like that, or maybe if I'm leaving for a few days. Like, honestly, the nice thing about this printer, especially because there's a camera all built in, like, my old printer, I had a whole setup and everything. I really tried to make the whole printer work. This new one has a camera in the printer, so you can actually see things as it's going. Hopefully, house doesn't burn down, but, like, honestly, the time to start a 40-hour print is when I'm going away for a few days, assuming the house doesn't burn down. The house shouldn't burn down, I believe. I don't know how safe these things are or aren't. My baseline research online has indicated that the bamboos are pretty safe to leave, but I don't know if it means like overnight or when you leave for a week. Pedro, how does Cyberpunk compare to Project Elite? So, I think I said this in my review. I believe I like Cyberpunk more than Project Elite. But I don't think I said this part. Project Elite might be better for single shot. I'm not yet sure about the single shot versus the progression in Cyberpunk. So Project Elite, like, I don't plan on getting rid of either right now. Like, if I could have 2 real-time games in my collection, I'm okay with that. All the other real-time games eventually do leave, so it's not a bad thing to have 2. I know Dwellings wasn't for you, but any interest in Andromeda's Edge? I covered this earlier. I liked Andromeda's Edge more than Dwellings. I've played both of them, but I still didn't like it enough for it to be in my top echelon of games in that genre. ACS, do you think Cyberpunk would play well without the app? Have you tried it without the app? Because apparently on the GameFound page it says it can be played with just a regular timer. Interesting. So again, I haven't fully gone through everything. So far, my experience with the app has primarily been that you have a timer that has to be modified. So sometimes you need a 3-minute timer, sometimes you need a 4-minute timer, sometimes you need a 2-minute timer. So in theory, so far, yeah, you could play it with just a timer. But again, I would just use the app. For me, an app that is just a timer is not a problem. An app that makes me go through it and like scan cards, like for instance, Destinies. I love Destinies. But Destinies, I constantly have to scan things all the time, and that takes me out of the experience. It means I'm holding a phone the entire time, not that there's a phone loosely there. Successful, Sydney Johnson, that's the one I suggested. I figured. Ryan, I really dislike app requirements, but so far going board a site, Cyberpunk app is basically a timer. I hope that says true. Yeah, the big thing I wasn't sure about is how much they try to incorporate other elements into the app later. I hope they keep it as just a timer, because that doesn't bother me. Again, if you've ever played One Night Ultimate Werewolf, I am totally fine with that app. It adds some moody music, some good atmosphere. I would say more than that. You could theoretically play without the app. I never would. I would always use the app for One Night Ultimate Werewolf. Currently with Cyberpunk, I feel the same way. So me, George can house sit to make sure your house doesn't burn down. Excellent. Absolutely. While he's there, he can grab a bunch of games off the shelf, learn them, and we'll play it together. So me, that's what least favorite kids are for. Leave them behind to guard the house. Board Collect. If you're concerned, they make a ball-shaped fire extinguisher. It's a plastic ball filled with powder that if fire hits it, it pops and coats everything with the powder to snuff the fire. I'm not actually concerned. I should probably be concerned, but I'm not actually concerned because I figure that, I don't know, like I also have like Alexa devices in my house, and that means at any point I could probably just turn it on and see if the house is on fire. Although I guess if the house is evidently on fire in an Alexa device, it's probably too late. And I have friends or even neighbors who can check on the house and set something. But I don't know. I'm not actually concerned, but maybe I should be. ACS, I play games mainly on Shabbos, which is why I was asking about the app. Well, if you play mainly on Shabbos, that's going to be a limiting factor. But yes, a timer is fine in that case. For me, I always, like, because I played enough during the week, while it's true Shabbos can get a lot of game time, it's easy enough to work around that the other ones that are not playing Shabbos. Joshua Burke, did you participate in Thursday? I really enjoyed how they did everything with the live stream. I did not. I kind of loosely was debating on it. I think at one point I went into the site, and then I just didn't bother continuing. BoardGameCo, you own 2 copies of Oathsworn. What do you mean? If you mean those 2 boxes... No, that's Mystery Chest 1 and 2. Right? Yeah, that's Mystery Chest 1 and 2. Those are the, I'm like just making sure I'm like not wrong about this. That's Mystery Chest 1 and 2. So it's the same game, just different boxes with the same art. But one says 1, and one says 2. I think it's that order. Yeah. Those are the minis for no Oathsworn. Yep, someone's got me. Professor Meg, Galaxa put out fire. Let's see. Off-topic question. How would you rate those neoprene boards for Terraform Mars you showed not long ago? How is the print detail and overall feel close-up? Good, but not great. I do think I'd prefer to use the neoprene over the board, but some of the words were drop fuzzy in a way that you don't have with the actual board. So I prefer the neoprene, but like this is a small degree of angst over the board has some element that's a little better. CR Paul, I'd like to see BoardGameCo top games list for 3-day holidays. Interesting. I mean, wouldn't that just be my favorite games? What's the qualifications there? Is it just my favorite games that don't use technology or writing or an app? Or is there something more to it? That is a more... Or do you mean literally for... Do you mean like high holy days? Like, do you mean for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Or do you mean generically for specifically for 3-day holidays? 3-day holidays, by the way, if you don't know, for those who are watching, very often Judaism will have a 2-day holiday. Now, the problem is if a 2-day holiday falls before or after Saturday, so for example, Sunday, Monday, then it basically rolls into each other. Sunday, it will be Saturday, Sunday, Monday will be a 3-day holiday, at which point you're offline for a full 3 days, which can be a lot. Stacy, I grabbed Distilled in the White Castle on Thursday. That's all I wanted. It was definitely less chaos this year with half the games. Cecil Geek, Stacy, those are the 2 I missed because I was mid-game at a retreat and they sold out so fast. That's okay. Jonathan, what are your day-to-day duties as GameFound CMO? Mostly, well, it depends. So there's a different bunch of stuff I do, but the main thing is going to be ultimately meeting with creators, emailing creators, meeting with creators, having conversations with creators, and trying to get them to use our platform. There are other things I do. So like I'll do our, I now do the GameFound vlog or whatnot. I also do anytime it's a feast, I have to schedule interviews and run with those. I often do a lot of numbers and data analytics on different things. So like I just put together fun facts. I mean, I get to use some GameFound salesy stuff over here, but I just redid our numbers for I went through every single reprint campaign from 2024, meaning, and there's 53 of them. There's 53 campaigns, well, to be more specific, every single reprint campaign from 2024 that funded to at least $200,000. And just an arbitrary cutoff just for the sake of having, because otherwise I don't want to do everything. I probably should lower it to 100,000 because I do want to get more in the mix. But either way, there's 53 campaigns across all platforms that have done a reprint campaign in 2024. And then I look at the original campaign to see how well they did. And Kickstarter to Kickstarter, meaning if the original campaign is on Kickstarter and the new campaign is on Kickstarter, then the new campaign funds 3.6% higher on average. If the original campaign is on GameFound and the new campaign is on GameFound, the new campaign funded 36% higher on average. And if the original campaign is on Kickstarter and the new campaign is on GameFound, it funds 58% higher on average. Effectively, and the reason I do stuff like that is because reprints are the closest thing to apples that we have when I'm trying to convince a creator to use GameFound. And when I can show, hey, look at the data. On average, there's no guarantee on your project. There's never a guarantee on an individual project. But on average, the data shows that reprint campaigns are doing much better. Again, Kickstarter to Kickstarter is 3.6%, GameFound to GameFound's 36%, and Kickstarter to GameFound's 58%. That's a big, compelling argument to use GameFound. The numbers seem to support that those games do better. Stuff like that. I try to find numbers or data because I don't like just saying, hey, use us because we're better. I like saying, look, this is why we're better. Look at the numbers that support that. Stacy, no, we covered that. CR Poll, no, any Yom Tov Shabbos that can be played halachically. So, I mean, again, you have to have more qualifiers as to, like, are you looking for family-focused games specifically? Or are you just looking for halachically allowed games? Halachically allowed games are, most of the games I play are halachically allowed. So, it would just be go through my top 15 games and remove the ones that have writing, unless you're giving more qualifiers. Successful Geek, I did pick up Heat, Wandering Towers, and 4 Shuffle. Stacey Everdell, sorry, Successful. Successful Geek, it's all good. I didn't need them that bad. I had plenty of games. Successful, quite the variety to pick up. CR Paul, I enjoyed all of them too. Excited to 3D print the towers for Wandering Towers. Yeah, once you get a 3D printer, there is a desire to make as many toys as possible. Like even this guy, I've just been like playing around with him the whole stream because it's fun to hold this little guy. And there's lots of pass-through objects. I've printed a few of those already. They're just upstairs. Basically, when I do my review of the 3D printer, I'm going to try to have literally every single piece of garbage that I've printed, from inserts to gizmos, on the table, so I can have a full range of like all the stuff I've printed in the... My goal is to basically use it for like 3-4 weeks and then just review everything I've printed and my experience with it, pros and cons. There have been, like I've had some snafus, but the snafus have so far been very easily solved. Very easily. Although, one of the snafus was so easily solved and it kind of scared me, but I was like, it's just like I didn't know what to do. And then I googled it, and the answer was so simple. I was like, the app should have told me that, but whatever. Anyways, let's do one last answer for this over here. Vendorless, is there a difference between reprints of experienced publishers versus first-time publishers? They might have learned a lot marketing for original campaigns and reprints. So I'll do you one better, Vendorless, although I don't have the answer. What about ratings? We should take into account the ratings, because at the end of the day, here's the problem with any data set. Correlation does not imply causation. I can't say for sure your campaign is going to do better on GameFound. And there's always factors. What if all the reprints that are in that 58% higher, what if they were all rated well? And the ones that happen to be on Kickstarter just weren't rated as well. And that means, of course, they're not going to do as well. If you have Stars of Icarios versus Mythwind, okay, those are two games from the same publisher. They did reprint campaigns. Mythwind did a reprint campaign. Kickstarter, I think this was actually 2023. I'm not even sure if it's in this year's data. I'd have to look. But either way, Mythwind did a reprint campaign from Kickstarter to Kickstarter, and it did worse. Then Open Owl Games did a reprint campaign for Stars of Icarios from Kickstarter to GameFound, and that one did better. So, like, does that mean, like, maybe Stars of Icarios was better received? Like, but the ratings might have been better. There's a million different questions, and I do plan on plugging some of the stuff in, by the way. I do want to try to put in there, like, within similarly rated games, how do they do? Like, I want to be able to plug in more information into my model to account for a variety of things like that. But right now the model just started, so it's currently pretty simple. I do want to try to make it more interesting. Although I will say, experienced publishers versus first-time publishers, I don't know if I'm going to incorporate that. Maybe. That would be interesting. I'll tell you why that one matters to me more. It actually matters to me less. Your reasoning is they might have learned a lot from the original campaign, which is not wrong. My reasoning is more that I think you're right that they will experience a bigger shift. But I think a big part of it is even just the audience trust. Oathsworn the first time round is an unknown entity. Oathsworn the second time round is, wow, these guys made a good game. Versus if you have if Chip Theory Games goes ahead and does Elder Scrolls reprint, it may or may not do better, but that's going to come down more to how well the game is received, as opposed to how much the publisher learned or even trust in the publisher. So you're not wrong that I should try to include that as much as possible, and I probably will, actually. Now I'm thinking about it, I might include that as a metric so I can incorporate it into my model. John Kettling, is there any chance for a review of something packs of Pax Renaissance or Europro Universalis? There's always a chance, but those are definitely lower down on my personal interest list. And with that, we are going to go ahead and close this up because we have been going for a little over an hour. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to go deal with my 3D printer and learn games because I'm currently learning Sibyl, which I'm hoping to... It doesn't say Sibyl, it says Rulebook. I'm hoping to learn Rulebook so I can go ahead and play that shortly. In any case, until next time, I appreciate all of you, and I will see you next week.